Time has arrived. We are broadcasting Raw live from my ass. Boom, boom. I'd rather watch two old women slap my ass. Woo! That's as tough as a chunk of my ass. Here comes the biggest ass. The big man is back. Jim Ross, 350 pounds here. Say hello to my ass. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the greatest spectacle on earth, my ass. 30 men will enter my ass. You know what I mean. The most important thing to a tag team is my ass.
I totally agree with you, JR.
Here you go, King. Kiss my ass.
I wish you would jump on top of me, JR.
It disgusts me to see my ass.
My daughter's nursery rhymes are more aggressive than this.
I can't help but look at the butt, JR.
What?
I think this is fake.
You can't say that.
I can say that.
Wrestling's not fake!
It's still real to me, damn it.
The unscripted, uncensored, loose cannon of commentary. This ain't WCW. This ain't Monday Night Raw. This ain't SmackDown. This ain't even WWE.
Do I have everybody's attention now?
The recognized symbol of excellence in sports entertainment.
You're listening to Marks on Commentary.
All right, you are listening to Marks on Commentary. I'm Eddie Brophy.
I'm Jason Smith.
I'm Catherine.
It really just feels awkward without me playing an intro beforehand and Jason and copy and pasting the intro, after in post and I'm rambling, giving away all the secrets of the show, in which I sound like Aquaman until I can, get my microphone working. Anyways, this is my son.
Weird. Half the time I can barely understand what you're saying.
Now, is that due to the microphone or due to the alcohol consumption?
I can't drink. You know this. Don't be mean to me.
Oh no, I was saying on my behalf.
Oh, maybe both.
Catherine, you're drunk. Go home.
Not drunk. I'm the sober one.
She's a designated podcaster.
I am.
I trust that Jason has had some natty ices by now.
No, I actually have a Smirnoff Cherry Lime next to me.
You are not selling yourself as a man.
I don't care.
He's engaged.
I like pro wrestling, so...
I like how I'm the manliest guy on this show, and I live at home with my parents. And was recently dumped from a girlfriend overseas. Getting into wrestling now. Did we even have an itinerary for this show? Or we did. I just
yes, we do. I have the. I made sure that I asked for it, and he sent it to us. But while we were talking about you getting dumped, sorry, terrible segue. But since you mentioned it, you can read the entire story about Eddie getting dumped on our new blog. It's called marksonblogging.blog.com.
It's a shameless plug, but as someone who worked in radio for like 5 years, bravo, Catherine, bravo.
I thank you. It's
I would clap for you, but it sounds like I'm masturbating underwater.
Fat.
Oops. Anyways, so we have the new blog. We kind of mentioned it last week that it was an idea, and this past week the concept has become reality. So it's marksonblogging.blog.com. We all kind of post things. Eddie rants about his girlfriend breaking up with him. I had a very long rant about how much I missed wrestling because I went 4 days without it. And Jason is a nerd. I think it's the best way. I'm not.
What did I do?
We made a giant post about how to compile the best WrestleMania collection possible.
Yes, of the highest quality. What DVDs to get, which ones not. I thought it was a helpful how-to guide.
I really do think that at this point I have to out-nerd Jason on the next blog.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Hey.
Oh, you don't understand my vast knowledge of the Tanner family or the Seaver family.
Oh, well, if you're going to go for 90s pop culture, then yes, you can totally out-nerd Jason.
See, Eddie needs to do the pop culture, like, crossover wrestling shows, like this when WWE met, that 70s show, and, I don't know, there's a bunch of them out there, right?
Boy Meets World when Vader was...
that one.
Oh, God, Ethan Suplee's father on that show. He was one of the gangster guys.
Family Matters when Urkel and the father there wrestled the tag team there. Do you remember that one?
I do remember. I can't remember who the tag team was now.
It might have been a no-name, but usually they like to throw some kind of general name in there.
If you want to go nerdy, I will go even nerdier. stay tuned, all right, for John Ritter when he was in a wrestling match, and it was a mixed tag team wrestling. Why am I talking about this? Would you guys take control of the show already?
I don't know, I was waiting for you to get to the part where you said you were going to do an in-depth analysis of every time they've been on, what's that? The Weakest Link. Analyze which one was the weakest link.
I just watched that the other night. There was an episode where Triple H and Stephanie were like going head to head in that game.
Yeah, there's two of them. There's that one, and then there's another one.
Oh, where Stone Cold said that he was smart enough not to bet against his wife, who at the time was Deborah. I do remember that. Getting along here, Bryan versus the Corporation storyline. How do we think this has progressed?
I love it.
I think it's going really well. I'm kind of...
Instead of one big boss man, we have three.
I have a love-hate relationship with the Randy Orton aspect of it, because I think that it's hilarious that it's Randy Orton, but at the same time, there's only so many times we can do the evil RKO out of nowhere to end the show before I'm going to get bored, and I see that day coming.
Well, how long before we do a setup where a popular, and I shouldn't say this because they weren't popular at the time, they were outdated, when a metal band plays and we have a wrestler set up as their bodyguard, and that's the storyline. Can we get Test version 2.0 already?
It's coming.
I'm just some butt rockers that WWE could drag. Let's get Avenged Sevenfold or some shit on there, and let's have some guy who's their enforcer, their bodyguard, and I miss Test is what I'm getting at. I miss Andrew Test Martin, rest in peace. I love that character, but that has nothing to do with anything.
Nope. But in terms of enforcers, we kind of discussed last week whether or not it was a good idea to have the Shield working as the bodyguard / enforcer of the McMahon family. I'm still a little bit unsure about it.
Well, can I ask this a question then? The fact that they had heat on them, and not SummerSlam, the pay-per-view before Money in the Bank, when there was supposedly heat on them, was that work? Or was that an actual... Because, again, if they're worked into a storyline involving a Neo corporation, could they have been feeding certain things? Like, let's think of this Reddit user, for example, who was spoiling all these pay-per-views. And he was the Nostradamus of WWE. Could they have been feeding the internet? I mean, it's entirely possible. It's the internet, after all. Could they have been feeding, like, users on Reddit and people like that certain, like, you know, false facts about who has heat, who doesn't, or whatever in the back? Because, again, the fact that the Shield is in on the storyline is huge to me, considering what I've been reading up to that.
Yeah.
Because it seems like we're going to bury those guys, and it was a done deal. They were behind the Wyatt family. Those were the Golden Children now. Forget the Shield. Now the Shield are right back where they started, which is, you know, prime for, you know, the tag team and for Dean Ambrose. And I don't know. I like it. I'm behind it so far, but I agree with Catherine. I'm not totally sold on Randy Orton as, like, the new Rock, if you will.
I just look at it as if, all right, I'd rather have a heel Randy Orton than a face Randy Orton shoved down my throat each week. So
I'm ambivalent about both because Randy Orton is a dick. He's always been a dick, but he's also a kind of crappy wrestler. To be honest with you, I was a huge Randy Orton fan when he was a member of Evolution.
Yep.
I think the difference is he was coached to his style. They coached him to do a different style because they didn't make him. If you watch the they kind of advised him to stay off the turnbuckle.
Did we lose you?
Sorry, I got lost, and then I came back in the middle of whatever sentence you were saying, Eddie.
So Grandma Catherine fell asleep, and now we're catching up. I just think his style is a little too stiff for me, as opposed to when he first showed up in WWE.
I'm sorry, who are we talking about?
Randy Orton.
Yes. I don't know. I mean, I like him. I'm just confused by what's going on, and not in a good way.
Now, in regards to wrestling or in regards to this show?
Both? Because, I don't know. Like, I like the idea that Randy Orton is the one in that role, but in reality, I'm not entirely sure that it's exactly what I want it to be. And I am confused by his wrestling because, as far as I can tell, it's just, if it's not the RKO out of nowhere, then he doesn't have anything.
Well, then
but that's also kind of always been his style, so I guess I can't be that confused by it.
Well, then it's the DDT off the second rope.
Oh, that's true.
Which, when he first pulled that move, it was at Armageddon against RVD for the Intercontinental Championship. And I thought that was the coolest move I'd ever seen. Like, the coolest way to end a match. Now it's where it's a planned thing. It's
Yeah.
just a little obnoxious. Like, it's almost the equivalent of the Stone Cold Lubez Perez.
Yeah,
Right.
or even, I mean, and there's a lot of wrestlers that have a similar move to that right now, because Sheamus has the pulling him through the ropes to do the hits to the chest, and then Christian has the throwing him to the ropes so he can hop down and do the bitch slap across the face. And it's some of that stuff is just like too set up.
I don't know. Again, I'm not completely sold on Orton, but again, if they could work with him in terms of like introducing some newer like moves in the ring, like give him a bigger arsenal. It's just with him, he's another Cena. He's just he's a Cena that it's okay to like. In my
He
mind.
has the 2 moves of doom instead of the 5.
All right. Well, if it wasn't Randy Orton, who on the roster would you put into Orton's role?
I personally, I would have gone with Ziggler.
Yeah.
I absolutely would have gone with Ziggler on that one.
All right. Except a year ago, I would have gone with that.
Yeah, the
But,
timing is off for
yeah.
Ziggler.
Because he's
No,
super over right now.
Ziggler is Billy Gunn. There's no getting around that. Ziggler is. If Billy Gunn and Chuck had a bastard son, it would be Ziggler. If they had consummated that shit, it would have been Ziggler. I don't know. I feel like it. If you're gonna side with Orton, where the hell's Batista? Like, if you're gonna side with a guy you're already in a faction with or already in a stable with, why not bring back some of the older guys? Because we know Batista's coming back. We just don't know when.
I mean, we don't know where Flair is. I mean, he could have fucked himself out of a position.
Yeah, Flair could have. I mean, but there's still the Batista wild card, I think.
Yeah.
I don't
it's
know.
Not out of the...
I'm one of the few people that I would love to see Batista come back.
There's a lot you can do with him.
Crickets.
No, there is a lot you can do.
Nobody
with
wants to see Batista.
Because he's always...
Sorry, can we just insert crickets into that pause?
Because he's always talked about wanting a match with Brock. Which I'm not sure how it would play out, but
I don't know
I'm
how
interested. Because they're both very similar, like body mass.
That doesn't necessarily dictate a good match, though.
No. But
Right,
they're
I would
both
almost say
powerhouses.
it's detrimental because when you get to, I mean, clearly they're very different people. Like when they had Ryback versus Mark Henry, or anytime there's like Mark Henry versus Big Show, when there's 2 guys that big that, I mean, it's not as dynamic of a match, and it's much harder to have a longer, better match with the 2 of them because they don't have, the crazy moveset to keep people intrigued.
Well, again, that's the equivalent of Goldberg and Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania 20. I mean, that was a hyped up match. I mean, if you don't remember, that was a pretty big match on paper.
Yeah.
And then when it finally came to fruition, I've never been more disappointed with a WrestleMania match.
Well, there was all the politics leading up into it anyways.
Well, right, because they were both leaving anyway, so it was kind of like, who the hell cares? I mean, there was even a chance of sellout for both wrestlers. I mean, Stone Cold, that was such a Stone Cold match, and he was just, an enforcer, a ref in that match?
Referee or something.
Well, moving on here, Ms. Dango.
It was the best moment in WWE history of all time.
Okay, Jason, can you put that on fan tracks for me?
Can I put that on what?
Whatever the fucking thing is, video tracks, fan tracks.
Oh.
E-tracks.
Why
do you want me to
fan
get
track.
it this time?
Can you put that? I think Catherine has replaced me in the shaming yourself department. AJ, future Hall of Fame, Ms. Dango, the greatest thing in WWE history. What?
Don't worry, I already put it on Twitter, so.
She marked out. I have, like...
I had a conniption. It was hilarious.
No, here's a terrible segue, Catherine. Catherine has a female boner for The Miz. I've recently...
Can't help it.
I've recently come to understand what a female boner is. I thought that this was kind of counterproductive, because if I'm going to do anything to a female, the last thing I want to see is a boner on one. However, I've been instructed that a female boner is a good thing. 978-276-9418. If you would like to instruct Eddie, ladies of Marks on Commentary, if you're a lady and you listen, you're not Catherine. How can I give you a lady boner?
Oh, God. Moving on.
Oh, we have our first T-shirt.
Oh, God. Anyways, despite the fact that it was The Miz, I'm putting that aside. I thought it was a great, switch. I thought it was a great moment for the 2 of them. I hate you. I hate you so much.
Again, Miz's path to being future endeavored is complete.
No, it was amazing.
The transformation is complete.
I think any time that they've done it so many times with different characters. I mean, they did it, 2 months ago with AJ and Caitlyn, where they dressed up as each other. Like, anytime that happens, it's just funny.
I'm
And
being right now with
the
you,
fact that
Catherine.
it was Miz was better.
Catherine, I was talking with Jason earlier. It's really hard. We're only doing this because we love you. I'm here to stage an intervention on you. The Miz is not a good wrestler, Catherine.
I never said he was a good wrestler. I said he was really pretty.
Catherine, you and the pretty wrestlers, you are not going to get a job at WWE. You know what's going to happen? Because, all right, this was breaking the fourth wall again. Catherine has recently applied to. Catherine essentially applied to and got an internship with WWE. She lost it because she revealed the fact that she was graduating. She's now in a 4-year college, which is something that I will probably not be able to say until I'm 35. Catherine has once again applied for an internship at WWE. She even asked for my advice on a letter to send out. It was a great letter. It totally. If there's one person to work for WWE, it would be Catherine. However,
I actually heard back from them, by the way. Thanks for bringing it up.
Well, shut up. I'm not done. So, if Catherine gets into WWE and is an intern, we have to ensure that we have a knowledgeable, true fan here who doesn't lose her internship for chasing the pretty faces. Catherine, if I read a headline of Wrestles on the Head, over-eager intern loses internship due to pretty wrestlers, I'm going to be very sad.
I mean, would I lose my internship for following them around and trying to pet them? Because I might.
Well, are we allowed to talk about this? You heard back from them? Are we allowed?
Let's just say I need to make sure I move to Connecticut and then reapply, and then it'll be mine. But I need to move to Connecticut, and I have no money.
Could
so
you elaborate, like, what department, or is that getting into too much detail?
I'm not sure. It's not confirmed yet.
Okay.
I would, and I have to get myself to Connecticut, which is the hardest part, and might not happen for a while.
Remember where you came from.
Yeah.
Remember what you tried to forget is what that's trying to say here. Well, anyways, we wish Catherine the best of luck. Honest to God, no, I'm good too. In terms of any two on the show trying to get a real job with WWE, it's not Eddie. I would just wind up being the drunken uncle of WWE.
Yeah, that's true.
That Miz piece of shit. You fire his ass. And we told time and time again, we're not firing the Miz, and I quit.
But then you would show up to work again the next day anyways.
Oh, Kramer style. I'd show up with, well, no, George Costanza style. Hey, everybody, what's up? Eddie, you quit. No, I didn't. That's crazy talk. All right, Curtis Axel versus Punk, because this is rumored to be on the card for Night of Champions. Question, what this past Monday supposed to be an IC title match?
Yeah. Here's the thing. I'm all for the rivalry, just because I really like Curtis Axel, because I love Michael McGillicuddy, because I love Nexus, and I'm excited that they're giving him the push and letting him face someone higher up in the roster than he is, like CM Punk. I'm just not sure if I want CM Punk in a lower match going for the Intercontinental title.
Doesn't make sense.
I mean, it makes sense along in the versus Paul Heyman storyline, but in terms of the belts, that part doesn't make sense.
I don't know. Like, the belt is Axel's only credibility right now, and if you take that away,
he's essentially going to be the new Zack Ryder.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing too. This is also the equivalent of giving Steve Austin the European title. If you had taken Austin at the height, which I think I should say that because Austin in the 2000s did have a pretty good run, but Austin at his height, essentially, would have been if he lost the end of an era match with Baker and couldn't wrestle for the WWF Championship anymore. It would be the equivalent of him wrestling D'Lo Brown for the European Championship.
Yeah, pretty much right on.
So, 982769418, how right am I? Which is very... I agree. I think the only credibility Curtis Axel has, other than the fact that he's Mr. Perfect Son, is that title. I don't even think Paul Heyman's a factor in his credibility.
I think if he gets out of this match with Punk with the title intact, then I think it could mean big things for him, and I think him being tied to Heyman will mean something. I mean, it's always just kind of been, oh, look, he's a Paul Heyman guy. Oh, look, he's there to get beat up at the end of the Punk and Brock segments. But if he's able to squeak by with a win over Punk, then it kind of adds into Punk's, spiral into despair, and it boosts Curtis Axel again.
I might have seen somewhere that it was going to be a handicap match. I could be wrong about this.
Yeah, it's supposed to be Punk versus Curtis Axel and Paul Heyman at Night of the Champions. No, yeah, all right. Now here's the Eddie wild card of the night. We have this every week because everyone hates me. Now, what if, and this is like a totally hypothetical, will never, ever, ever, ever happen. What if, because essentially Punk's descent into mediocrity began when Taker beat him, if we could all agree on that. I really do think that's where it began.
It was the second he lost the title.
I understand what I'm not sure it's mediocrity, but I understand what you're saying.
Well, let's take, for instance, what if Taker does what Taker did years ago when he was biker Mark Calloway? What if he kind of shows Punk respect and he were Punk's tag team partner and he said, look, kid, you didn't beat me, you didn't break the streak, but you have my respect? Is that as, if not more, invaluable than it would have been to break the streak?
I don't know. That's hard to say. I mean, I don't think he needed the credibility. I think he just needed to keep him on the rise. Like, after WrestleMania, yeah, he had his little break. But, I don't know. I think you could have done so much more going forward now. Like, he could have at Night of Champions taken on Del Rio for the World Heavyweight title. Give that credibility again.
But does it give it credibility? I mean, that title, as far as I'm concerned, that's a non-factor really in any of this and in the company anymore. I don't view the World Heavyweight title as even a real title anymore.
Right.
I mean, that's like rumored RVD versus, say, Del Rio at Night of Champions. Does it fucking matter? I apologize for sorry. It doesn't matter if RVD wins the World Heavyweight Championship. I don't think it does.
I think it's cool from a fan's point of view, but
it's a non-factor to me, though. It's still a non-factor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I did bump ahead there, but I didn't see this. I have read about this. AJ's pipe bomb, quote unquote.
Did you see it?
I saw it. I thought it was a fantastic promo given by the wrong person. I think she did a great job giving it. I thought AJ's delivery was fantastic, but for her to come out and call them out and say that they're there because of who they're dating or who their parents is, coming from the girl who's quite literally made out with guys to get to the top, well, I feel like she's not withdrawn enough from that part of her character for her to be able to make that kind of promo.
Can I interject there and say that you said the way it was delivered? Now, when Punk, that was an obvious work. Triple H had even said in a recent interview, if we had a superstar go out and badmouth us, and it wasn't a work, if it was a legitimate shoot, he wouldn't have made it as far as he did. But it was still convincing. To this day, until I read that article, I was still absolutely convinced that Vince McMahon did not care what was said about him, his daughter, his son-in-law, or his own company. He did not care. But it was an obvious work. Punk was actually, honest to God, Punk was working with creative with Triple H because I mean, if you are the owner of a company like this, are you going to let one of your indignant superstars go out and badmouth you? Hell no, not on live TV.
No.
It was convincing enough, and that's the point. It was convincing enough that we all looked at it as, holy crap, this guy just totally sold out the company on live TV. AJ, she's not big enough. And again, I am the guy that said she'll probably be in the Hall of Fame. Fuck you. I stand by that. But she's not quite there yet to make a promo like that. From what I've read and heard, she's not quite there yet.
Yeah.
I don't know. I felt like if it was just not far enough removed from her, obsessed with the guys storyline. She just came out of the pay-per-view against Caitlyn, and then she's kind of going against the Total Divas. And I know they're setting this up for her to face one of the Total Divas at the next pay-per-view. But I feel like the only thing we've seen AJ do for the last 2 years is hop from guy to guy and be all over guys. And if they had given her even just a couple of months of some sort of actual storyline, or even a couple of weeks of actual storyline of her feuding with the Total Divas or something, and then have her come out and give that promo, dead on, spot on, perfect. I'm excited about it. But it just seemed weird from where she is with her character right now for her to deliver that promo.
It's hard to support a diva who is basically her story and her character is built around the idea that doing AJ would be like throwing a hot dog down a football field. I like how I get to laugh at Jason Chadwick horrified.
Oh God.
She's the backstage whore, and that was her storyline. I realized that I'm supposed to be modified in my language, my verbiage here. I apologize, but that's what her character is. If Natalia is the flatulence queen, then AJ was the company whore. Like everybody's had a turn. She's WWE's doorknob.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, and so how convincing is it if she comes out and like, oh, it's all about who you sleep with in this company?
Right.
It seems a little counterproductive in my eyes. Like, get a legitimate diva to come out and be like, no, this is how it is, and this is how it's always been. Even get, like, an obscure diva from days of yore. Get, like, Ivory to come out and kind of be like, holy crap, it's Ivory, while everyone else is like, who the hell is this chick?
Or if they had one of the divas from NXT, I mean, they have some fantastic divas waiting to come up. If they had taken one of them and that was their, like, kind of their step into the world was calling out the other divas, then she might not have had the credibility to give that promo, but she would have been in a much better place character-wise to do it.
Doug, you hired a woman whose actual name is Barbie. Enough said.
I just find it funny that, like, it seems like 10 minutes after that, like, aired, everybody lost their shit, and they're like, it's another pipe bomb. I'm like, whoa. Back it up.
So like she did the drop in the microphone thing.
Yeah, it wasn't a pipe bomb. It was a great worked shoot by a character.
No, here's what happened. Punk dropped the pipe bomb, AJ dropped the tampon.
But when is that? Is that the new term now for a shoot, like pipe bomb? Like
I think it's the new term for like just a promo that seems very realistic, that kind of calls someone out in a more personal way than
Catherine,
character to character.
I'm coaching you right now. Do you want to work for the WWE? Quick, drop a tampon.
No.
I'm getting used to hearing that from women.
I like keeping mine right where they belong. Thank you.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Oh, man.
Go along here to Ryback's new push.
Oh.
Be a star. Be an anti-star. Be a bully.
Yeah, so this is something we were talking about, and then Jason was yelling at me for talking about it not on air.
Well,
so there's been the segments, we kind of talked about them last week, where Ryback has been bullying different people backstage. There's the tuna fish in the ear unfortunate segment. There was the gazpacho, the ripping up of the what is the program that he was supposed to sign, and then the really awkward one where he forced a guy into his knees in the shower.
Rather, Tom, ladies and gentlemen, they're the new sponsor of this show.
Yeah.
Clearly no other porno site, that's just thing.
Oh, terrible. Shush. So, I mean, it seems like they're giving Ryback another push, which seems really soon to be pushing him with a new kind of twist after he dwindled so fast with the last one. I mean, we were talking about how he's on the poster for one of the upcoming pay-per-views.
Battleground.
And then I had mentioned that, I believe it was this morning, Stephanie McMahon had responded to a tweet where someone asked her, do you think it's appropriate for Ryback to be bullying people when you guys have your Be a Star campaign?
Well,
and
let me interject. The real Americans dance around the ring calling Darren Young gay.
Yeah. Right. We're talking about Ryback. That's later on, Eddie.
Well, I'm just saying, though, but that goes along with the Be a Star thing. It's like, can you, as a company, campaign for anti-bullying and then have bullying on your program?
Well, what she said in response was a very good response. And it's what I thought of when people said it, is that, what happens in wrestling, they've made a big deal of saying it's entertainment, it's television, it's not real life. And so what she said was, Ryback is entertainment, Be a Star is real life, and that's reality. And so they try to teach kids the difference between the two. I mean, you watch other television programming, and there's bullies, and it's a fact of life, and they just reflect life in the program. But I think they do a fantastic job of using the Be a Star campaign to kind of counteract whatever, bad they might be doing by having bullies on the show. Because if they had no one being a bully in wrestling, what would be the point? There would be no heels.
Well,
There'd be no
my-
Bella Twins. There'd be no Ryback. There'd be no Real Americans.
Exactly, but that's my point, and I think you're dead on with this. I think it's perfect because I think in order to really get your campaign across, you have to create inspired by real life, real bullies.
Right.
And I think homophobia, prejudice of any kind, that's always been. I mean, fucking, oh god, oh shit, I'm totally Sergeant Slaughter versus Hulk Hogan at WrestleMania. He was the Irani supporter. He was getting bomb threats from people because they thought he was really advocating for the enemy at the time. We were in the Gulf War.
Yep.
That was a compelling story because it was taking the headlines and it was doing something that fake pro wrestling nobody expected. It was cerebral. It was smart. It was the zeitgeist, if you will. Like even what was the wrestler's name? Who, like they implied that he was part of Al Qaeda. I forget.
Muhammad Hassan.
Muhammad Hassan. When the Undertaker wrestled him and he got carried out like in a Jesus Christ pose by like the people wearing the burqas, if you will. Everybody thought that was so controversial. Again, you want the Attitude Era, and Paul Heyman says we give you the Attitude Era, and you whine about it, and you get offended by it, but that's the Attitude Era. It's very like Law and Order SVU. We pull from the headlines, and we give you what you're asking for, but then you're like, well, you're contradicting your point. No, we're not. We're reinstating.
Yeah.
I'm with you.
And so, I mean, again, if you're offended by Ryback being a bully, well, clearly you're weak and you don't like you cry for the Attitude Era, but incrementally they give you the Attitude Era and then you whine about it and you get all politically correct about it.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I complain about his segments not because he's a bully, but because some of them are painful to watch.
He's a bad actor. He's not a bully, he's a bad actor.
And I always feel bad for the poor indie wrestler that gets gazpacho poured on him or tuna fish in his ear for like 5 minutes. I'm sorry, I'm still not going to get over that. That was horrific.
He's the new Heidenreich.
Ugh.
I'm sorry. Going into the next segment here. RVD and Ricardo Rodriguez. Cool dudes. But real wild and crazy guys. Seriously.
I love how you last week you said Ricardo Rodriguez should come out in an airbrush tuxedo. He did the airbrush t-shirt. He was so close. I really wanted the airbrush. Like, he came out with the tuxedo and he had the shirt underneath. And I was like, oh god. Excellent.
Can he come out in the shit box again? Because that's so my favorite moment.
No, they need to come out in a car and they open the doors and it like
just smoke comes out.
Yeah.
Are you stealing her Tommy boy? What'd you do?
Oh man. I still think it's such a weird combination.
I think it is legitimately because they're both potheads.
But Ricardo wasn't a pothead.
That's what he got. I keep thinking that's what he got busted for.
No, it was fat burners. But I mean,
for the record, Jason has never smoked marijuana in his entire life. I know this for a fact.
Who told you?
Stop villainizing us. Stop it.
Oh man.
Jason, don't be a bully.
Yeah. I just think it's such a weird combination. And no matter how many airbrush t-shirts Ricardo puts on, or how many like backstage segments they have, the two of them walking to the ring together with RVD doing weird yoga poses in the middle, it just doesn't click for me.
All right, here's the only thing that's not selling Ryback as a legitimate bully to me. How bullied can you be, or how intimidated can you be in a guy with an airbrushed leotard? Fight back, WWE. Be a star. Don't take this crap from a big guy who can't order from Panera in a spray-painted leotard.
Can they like airbrush stars onto his leotard?
I think at some point Ryback should come out to a hit by ABBA, and he should have stars airbrushed all over his leotard.
Nice. Some
Don't be a
glitter,
bully,
maybe
fabulous.
sequins.
If Ryback came out in sequence, I will literally mark the fuck out.
He dresses up as Fandango next week.
Fantastic.
Fan Ryback.
How fresh does Raw feel without Cena? Jason, it is Mentos refreshing.
Oh, I love it. It's so obvious, like, they don't have to, like, shoehorn him into the script.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You're not going to see it at this Raw. You're not going to see it at the next Raw. Give it 2 months from now, and you'll really gauge an idea of where we are post Cena. I genuinely think that. Build some stars, be a star, cultivate your friggin' talent, and we'll see where we're at post Cena.
I don't know about the two of you, but I've actually really enjoyed Raw without John Cena.
I'm on there with you.
Like, I don't really feel like I'm missing anything. It's like what I was saying about Rey Mysterio a couple of weeks ago that got me in trouble. You know, when he's there, and when he's gone, I forget that he existed. Except I can't forget John Cena exists because they mention him every 5 seconds. But even that, like, I think they only mentioned him 4 or 5 times during Raw.
Well, can I ask you this then? Well, I'll ask this to Jason. Do you remember when Randy Orton got injured and they would constantly do those updates with him in those flames? Hi, I'm
Yes.
Randy Orton. How close do you think we are to having that happen with Cena?
I hope not.
Hi, I'm John Cena. Remember me? He's like the encyclopedia kid from the 90s. Remember me?
I don't know. Would that turn him heel just doing that alone?
I
Each
guess
week, just being like, "Hi, remember me? I'm John Cena,
That's the
11-time WWE champion."
The only thing that could possibly turn John Cena heel is if he comes in and beats the snot out of someone when he makes his big return.
Well, you raise an interesting question there. Who would he beat the snot out of that would make him a good heel? Because if he
Daniel
comes back
Bryan?
and CM Punk, for example, that's not going to make him a heel.
I mean, it depends on who the McMahons are fucking with when the time comes.
Ooh,
We kind of talked last week about how, you know, they were kind of against, I mean, it's obviously
Have
they're
John
having problems with
Cena-
Ziggler, they're having problems with Daniel Bryan, they're having problems with Big Show. I mean, if he came in and, you know, helped the Shield beat down someone, like, that would make a big impact. And I'm not sure it matters who he beats down. I think it's who he beats them down with.
I think what really comes down is have Cena come to the ring, pull a Make-A-Wish kid out of the audience, and beat the crap out of them.
Did you guys see there's a fantastic group of people, I'll do a shout out to them, they're called the KFAB News, and they do the fake wrestling news articles.
I have seen some of them.
And they did one today that was injured John Cena receives wish from dying Make-A-Wish kid.
Oh, jeez.
It was absolutely amazing. You guys should check out their stuff. They're hilarious. I
Have,
love them.
have Santino or Ryder come back and have Cena beat the crap out of them, and then there's your instant heel.
But that wouldn't. Who cares?
Catherine, that's the equivalent of throwing a terminally ill elderly person down a flight of stairs.
Okay, in the words of Seth Rollins, do you think beating up 3MB is stepping up to the plate?
Touche. Good man. Touche.
You got me there.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
tip my hat with a feather in it, or quill, if you will, at you.
That was the greatest moment ever. They were so proud of themselves for beating up 3MB, and then Shield called them out on it. And I was like, yes, acknowledgement that 3MB is dreadful, but I love them.
Now let's move along here. Kane running for Senate. Can he do it
Did he
with the
confirm
mask?
that he is?
Here's what I got here off WrestleZone.com. It was interesting to me that Senator Alexander didn't talk about his actual job, Jacob stated, which supporting defending the U.S. Constitution. Instead, he talked about all the great things that he had done, which were really big government things. And of course, it's the philosophical question. Some people are going to say, well, there are important things, and they are. But his primary job is to defend and support the Constitution and the Bill of Rights. They didn't make it into his letter. Them be fighting words, Kane. I think you should chokeslam this bitch.
Because there's been talk about him doing it for a while, and then when he started feuding with the Wyatts, I thought maybe it was because he was going to be running and couldn't be on television. But then they were like, oh, he's filming a movie.
No, you know what? There was actually a poster. A friend sent it to me. I can't remember which friend. I think it was my friend Jager actually sent me this poster. Kane used to be a teacher. And there was this like PSA poster of Kane in costume sitting next to a young kid reading a book. And he was saying that, I'm paraphrasing of course, that essentially what he does for a living now is difficult. And you get a lot of bumps and bruises and whatever. But it wasn't nearly as difficult as his job as an educator. I would love a smart Kane. I would love Glenn Jacobs to actually, before Glenn Jacobs retires, I would love to see him out of character. The same way I would love to see Mark Calloway outside of the Undertaker character come into the company and retire as Mark Calloway. The same way I would love to see Kane retire as Glenn Jacobs. Because that's the thing. You have a guy like Glenn Jacobs, he's really well read. If you've ever seen the documentary Wrestling with Shadows of Bret Hart, Mick Foley, and it was a really poignant, awesome scene where Mick Foley was sitting down with Bret Hart and talking about a book he was reading. Wrestlers are really intelligent individuals. Like, their talent, their performance, this is what they want to do. But a lot of them have really high IQs and are involved in politics and, social issues. I think it would be awesome. And I could be the only one. That'd be awesome if Glenn Jacobs showed up as Glenn Jacobs.
Yeah. I mean, you've had Jesse the Body Ventura. He played, governor of Minnesota.
Now he's Jesse the Mind Ventura, and he's gone batshit. So not a good example.
But that's what I'm saying. Is he?
No, that was Catherine with the assist for Eddie Brophy. Jesse the Mind Ventura, and now he hosts a show called Conspiracy. I do like that show because there's a lot of. I mean, I entertain the thought of conspiracy theories, but yes, he is batshit crazy, and he looks horrible with a ponytail. But there are a lot of dignified talent in the backstage area that dignify them on television.
I mean, some of the things that like they did before they were wrestlers, you're like, holy crap! Like Sheamus used to be in IT. Like Wade Barrett has a degree in marine biology.
Well,
David Otunga graduated from Harvard Law, but like
Michelle McCool was an actual teacher.
Yeah, so was Matt Stryker before he got released and stuff.
I don't know.
I agree with what you're saying in terms of, they're really intelligent individuals. As someone who's worked in politics, it's not a very good political move, but it'll be interesting to see what he does. I'm just saying, like...
Culture aficionado, when Bill Clinton, Choose or Lose, MTV 92, admitted that he smoked but he did not inhale, that actually helped his poll ratings.
Yes.
So how far are we from WWE being a dignified platform for would-be politicians?
Okay, but then Bill Clinton said that he received a blowjob and he nearly got impeached. So is winning a world heavyweight title closer to getting a blowjob or closer to smoking pot? I think is the thing we have to puzzle out.
I haven't received a world heavyweight title nor a blowjob in 4 years, so I'll get back to you on that. I'm going on 4 years of I'm almost ready to become a monk or join a convent. So, yeah, that's right, listeners. I haven't been late in 4 years. Go fuck yourselves. Or fuck me, if you will. That would be better.
Oh, Eddie.
Oh, Eddie. That's gonna be the epitaph on my grave. Thy Kingdom Come, the new Triple H DVD. The first time, and I noticed this in the trailer, and a lot of fans noticed this, Undertaker, a.k.a. Mark Calloway, breaks character.
Yeah, I haven't seen it yet. My friend Dan was, and he did mention that to me, and that's ridiculous.
Shut up and take my money. I would love to see Mark Calloway talk as Mark Calloway and not The Undertaker.
I take your money. They're all on Netflix.
Are they?
Yes.
You know what Netflix is disappointing? Here's an off-road rant. I tried to watch The Goonies on Netflix, and they didn't have it.
You gotta wait for certain things to come up.
I wanted to see the Truffle Shuffle, and I was denied.
You can request things and yell at them until they put it on instant review. That's what I did at The West Wing.
Oh, really?
I think I yelled at them about 30 times, and then The West Wing appeared. So I don't know if that had anything to do with me or if it was just convenient, but it is available as an option.
Catherine is the whiner on this show. Not surprised that she was involved in politics, ladies and gentlemen. The squeaky wheel of Mark's on commentary.
Eddie starts yelling about, play Ninja Turtles 2!
I own it, you son of a bitch.
Oh, man.
New NXT name.
But yes, that is good advice for anyone who doesn't realize almost all of the WWE movies are on Netflix.
Yeah.
And it's an interesting way to be able to see them. Because, we all know, I'm a more recent fan, and I missed a lot of stuff. So to me, watching a lot of the DVDs on Netflix, it's like catch up. It's like watching the Spark Notes version.
I like to be surprised by certain ones, too, because, there's ones that have come out where I'm like, I'm not going to bother getting that. I think it was, the best of WCCW, in Texas, and I was like, what's this about? And it was actually a really cool documentary.
Or
I
you
just
could
watched
go to
For All
his
Mankind, and that one was amazing.
That's a good one.
I mean, I love Mick Foley anyways, but
You can
that
go
was
to Jason's house and raid his like library of DVDs, and I'm encouraging you to do this because I've yet to do this. And I did realize that Jason earned my respect when I realized that he had a copy of The Wizard in his collection.
I like random shit. You also missed Adventures with Babysitting.
You have that?
I have that. Fuck you both.
By the way,
Anyway.
Jason Smith is now my new best friend. and to answer some of my Twitter followers, because I did want to address one particular potential Twitter follower because I haven't followed him back. Please do not be offended on Twitter if I don't follow you. Jason actually sent me a request with the line, hey, how about a follow?
No, he did the same thing to me. Don't feel bad.
Well, I didn't want you to think it was some random person.
That happened to have your name in a picture that looked like you.
Well,
We're not popular enough to have like copycats yet, Jason.
Well, no, I did want to address this because Jim Kirkness, he's a listener from Australia, if I'm to be correct here. I noticed that I will follow you, Jim, especially after this. Breaking the fourth wall, if you want Marks and Commentary, Jim Kirkness had donated $45 to my walk for suicide awareness. And I want to address this because I just think this is fucking cool. As a podcaster, this is so cool. Not only does the guy donate money for a walk, which truants all of you for not donating. He wrote, I'm an avid MOC listener and severely depressed guy from Australia, ! Was attempted suicide in the past and have been in the same situation as a lot of the people you're helping here. Just wanted to thank you personally for the laughs on Marks and Commentary and your commitment to the cause. It means a lot to me, and I hope this donation can really help. I plan to friend the shit out of this guy on Twitter when I learn how to use my Twitter.
Listener of the week.
I'm just reinstating the whole Marks for a Cause thing. This is a walk I'm very serious about. This is the walk I'm going to do. September 28th, I believe, is the date. I'll post the link again if you want to donate, if you want to participate. If you're local to the area, we can walk. We can talk about feelings. We can get Kelly's. We can get drunk together and talk about feelings while eating Kelly's. I don't mean to dumb it down. It is a real serious thing. But how cool social networking and podcasting can make a difference.
Absolutely.
But namely, this is also tying in with the fact that I'm terrible at Twitter because he did follow me. He seems like a really cool guy.
I think it brings us back to an older issue that we actually haven't mentioned in a few episodes, which is we're all pretty stupid when it comes to technology. We need someone who can help us.
Yes.
And if someone can help us, then Eddie can actually friend people on Twitter, follow people on Twitter that do nice things for him. And he would like to be able to do that.
Not just that, Eddie can take over recording the show.
Again. Ooh, and then maybe we could figure out so I don't disconnect at the beginning again.
This is true. But anyways, Jim Kirkness, I don't know you personally, but thank you. That's fucking awesome. $45. Dude, I live in America. You're in Australia. I don't know what $45 is to you, but to me, that's the equivalent of an oil change. Yeah, that's half a paycheck. Sadly, thank you. I mean, thank you. And again, I do plan to make it up to those of you who plan to donate and have donated. I will find someone to make me a Piranha Man mask. I can address all of you, but we're throwing it out there. Like, we are bitching and we're moaning and we're whatever about wrestling, but that is super cool. But I just want to get on to the fans here because we apparently have them.
Yes.
Which
there's a few other things that we need to mention before we get to our other fans. But yes.
Proceed.
So one of the things I wanted to mention is that they just kind of came out with the next round of the NXT names for the people that they've brought into developmental. Most of them I don't care about, but Sami Callihan, who I've ranted about several times on the show now, used to be part of the Switchblade conspiracy with Jon Moxley / Dean Ambrose. He did get his new NXT name, so if you guys are cool, you should watch out for Solomon Crow with an E on the end. I think it's a pretty badass name.
Not bad.
So I'm pretty excited. I think he's supposed to be appearing on NXT tonight. I think that's on Hulu, so I'll have to...
Yeah, that is right. They moved NXT to the free portion of Hulu.
Did they really?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so excited.
I actually still have to catch the Sami Zayn Cesaro match. I hear it's awesome. I just haven't had a chance to sit down and watch it.
Me either.
Well, this brings me to my next one before we read tweets from our listeners. I had proposed an idea to Jason and Catherine earlier tonight. Now, it could be a failed idea. It's just an idea. We could call it Ask a Mark or Get to Know You Mark. Jason had previously invested interest in doing blogs. Now, here's the deal. We're going to read some tweets next, but I think it'd be cooler to... We're fans. First and foremost, we're fans. We do this podcast. It's relatively popular, enough that I got a $45 donation from a guy in Australia, which is awesome. Any question you want to ask us in, pertaining to wrestling, non-wrestling, what do we like, what do we want? Jason apparently is an Avengers babysitting fan, which I didn't know. If I did this, I have a man boner. Ask us anything, really. It's like Reddit. If you're familiar to Reddit, ask us anything in terms of wrestling, whatever. You do it to our personal tweets. You can do it on the Mark's Commentary tweet. We will do videos addressing you, the listeners, and basically answering your questions. I have a portrait of the Tanner family in my bedroom. That's a very real thing. I can offer some explanation as to why I have a portrait of the Tanner family in my bedroom. Same reason why Jason had gotten an argument with his now fiance about hanging a Back to the Future poster in his living room.
But hanging a what? I'm sorry.
Back to the Future.
I
Jason
still
has
can't hear you because Jason's laughing over the top of it.
Back to the Future.
Ah, nice.
He's got 3 posters in his living room. He's got Back to the Future. He's got the Warriors, and I'm facing
Clerks.
up and Clark. This was
She didn't want Back to the Future?
She might have given that one a pass, but I think it was the 3 of them that ticked her off. But I prevailed.
Say.
What's that?
Yes. Never mind. So we should do Ask the Marks. Why don't you guys hashtag it on Twitter to do hashtag Ask the Marks so that we know which ones are questions for the podcast and which ones are for the blog.
Someone recently on Twitter explained that they feel that Catherine is the John Cena of Commentary.
Yeah, I did put up a fuss about that one because I didn't want to be the John Cena of Marks on Commentary.
Jason wanted to be the CM Punk, but he's a damn wash, so I shot that one down.
Yeah, I could be the CM Punk. So
if the Norman Smiley or the Gilbert of this show, I'm gonna fucking punch you in your face.
But yeah, I love the idea of, getting to know us personally. Like, I can't speak for you, Catherine, so much, but I know Eddie's worked in radio and he can talk about that stuff. I've been fortunate enough to do some other cool stuff, like work in professional sports. You guys want to know anything about that? You want to know about us personally? I'm game. I don't care. I'm an open book. You guys can ask me, whatever.
I used to work in music. I'm still kind of a musician. Awesome. I do a bunch of ridiculous things. I make cheese in my spare time. So, if you guys want to ask me about cheese, I think I'm making cheese next week. So I can feel words about me making cheese.
Hashtag ask about the cheese.
But I didn't want to cut you off, but I actually today picked up the camera so I can start doing some vlogging.
Excellent.
Yeah, I bought the camera today, so.
Yeah. So we'll have those up on the blog, which is, again, marksonblogging.blog.com.
Yep.
There's all sorts of stuff up there. We'll do some Ask the Marks videos.
I got some other ideas. I got
wrestling, and it's just going to be kind of a conglomeration of just random crap. And just go there and read it, and it'll be fun. Did you guys notice my title of the first blog post? I was really proud of it. I made a John Cena reference.
The blog is here?
Yes.
I just thought you were emphatically stating it like,
no,
it's here.
John Cena reference, because you guys got mad at me last week for doing that.
Okay.
Anyways,
everything.
I'm sorry.
Moving along to the tweets here. Dolphins 1925, the Reddit user, issues statement. Karma loses weight. WWE return in the near future.
Wait, what are you doing? Those aren't tweets, dear. Those are other topics.
Yeah, those are more topics.
Hold on, I'm not on the tweets then. What? We still have topics?
Yes.
This is a topic-heavy show, and I don't know how I feel about it.
Okay, so the Dolphins 1925 was the comment about the Reddit user because he issued a statement about how him being a leak wasn't like he being a leak was planned and all these people knew about it. It was a conglomeration of leaks all working together.
To me, it's him either covering his ass or trying to cover somebody else's ass.
I think it's exactly what I read it as, was him trying to go, oh, no, I don't actually know anything. Yeah. I have these people that send me messages.
Not even. I know people who know people.
Yeah.
That's how he phrased it.
I don't know any of them.
Oh yeah, well we know the Brock Lesnar guy, according to Twitter. So
Don't
Suck.
spoil things.
let's move on here because that's a useless fact. TNA's roster shrinks yet again. Devon, SoCal Val, and AJ Styles next. Jose Canseco wants on the.
I thought you'd like that one.
I'm sorry, I can't even finish that. Literally, all I'm thinking of right now is Jim Carrey and Live. I'm Jose Canseco.
I have a soft spot in my heart for Jose Canseco, but not
Is it
anymore.
to real life because he was awesome on this real life.
Yeah, no, I have a soft spot in my heart for Jose Canseco like 15 years ago. When I have fond childhood memories of baseball, which is sad because I hate baseball, and they're like Jose Canseco was in them, but that doesn't mean that just sounds wrong. Anyways, continue on. I'm just gonna stop.
Can we move on to the Xbox tweet so we can just move on to other stuff?
Sure.
Why do you have to sound so creepy about it?
I don't know.
Yeah, I think just continuing on from the creepiness of me talking about my childhood and Jose Canseco.
He sounds like the guy in The Simpsons. Why do you talk like that? I had a stroke. Can we get on to the Xbox tweet?
I love
Sure.
it. All right. Am I telling it or are you telling it?
Yes, you're telling it, Jason.
All right. No, it was cool. There was an old article on WWE.com talking about the light heavyweight title. You know, I was reading through it. Awesome, cool little facts of like why it came about and, you know, some of the first champions. And then like the post, like right at the end, it says, oh, X-Pac supposedly still has it in a closet somewhere next to his boots that he beat Scott Hall with. Just, you know, pandering. But I remember from like a long time ago, like reading on NWA, TNA, they were doing an auction and X-Pac was giving away the belt to do like an auction. And I was like, hey man, like, and I tweeted him. I was just like, I didn't expect to get an answer back from him, but he got back to me like within 5-10 minutes. He was like, oh yeah. I donated it because Jeff Jarrett's wife was like having some cancer problems and stuff like that, and you know I felt really good about it, and I guess the belt picked up like $4,000 to donate to like cancer research. So just a nice.
It's really cool that he got back to you and answered your
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what? I'm actually I will say this because, and not that X-Pac listens to our show, but the fact that we have July 13th is our birthday, we share it. Years ago, I read that X-Pac attempted suicide.
Yep.
What better candidate to have for what I'm trying to do than Mr. X-Pac? So
Shall we put it out there?
I think you should. I think, and I don't mean to pander, and this has nothing to do with this show or anything else. I read some and I've always loved X-Pac. 1, 2, 3 Kid, I've always loved him as a performer, as a wrestler, just in general. And this is like the Gangrel interview. We will get it. He will be at Rock and Shock this year in Worcester. I'm going to force Jason to go with me because I'm going anyway to meet Robert England and, of course, Gangrel and Robert Patrick. X-Pac, if you listen to the show, donate. If this is something, if the reports are true and you've attempted this, support us. Support me. What I'm doing, what I'm trying to do.
Yeah. I'm game. I'm sure, at least at the bare minimum, I think you could get a retweet out of him if you explain what you're doing, and you know what I mean.
I'm doing it. I'll even vlog about it. If this can raise some good money and we do actually have listeners, I'll fucking vlog about why I'm really doing this. I don't want to get too.
At the risk of sounding shallow after such a meaningful conversation, but referring to Twitter, I was very happy this week when I got a new Twitter follower. Because it's Dolph Ziggler's little brother. And Riley Pierce, that was his name when he was in NXT. He got released a couple of months ago, and I was very upset about it. But I bought his book, and so he's following me on Twitter. Nice. And that's my happy little moment for the week. Moving on.
Nice. Well, since we're still on the subject of, I don't want to cut you off before you finish your thing, Eddie.
No.
I had some cool Twitter interactions this week. I actually talked to Brock Lesnar guy and, plugged if he'd want to be on the show, and he said he'd be down with it, so
This is going to sound really horrible because I'm supposed to be semi-knowledgeable, but my brain is just totally mush right this second. Who's Brock Lesnar guy?
He's the guy when Brock made his return. that the camera put it on him, and he did like the Brock Lesnar, like, I don't know, like arm pull in. You know, like how he goes, yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, can we just point out the fact that Jason and I were once again synchronized? The same way we're favorite when we both went, oh no! When the move was reversed. As soon as who's Brock Lesnar? Well, he's the guy.
As soon as, like, when he said, like, explained it, I remembered. My brain is mush.
But I want to talk to him because he is, like, one of the WWE super fans. Like, there's a short list of guys. There's the guy that always is ringside, has the signs.
Yeah, the backwards red hat guy.
Yeah, I want to know, like, how do these fucking guys afford to go to all these fucking shows? Like, what do you do? That's what I want to know.
I want you to actually, here's who I want you to track down backwards red hat guy.
Yeah.
Because I remember reading years ago, or no, it was on Confidential, WWF Confidential at the time. They actually followed him, and why he does this, his wife actually passed away, I believe.
Yep.
She had cancer, and she actually passed away. So he kept doing that to kind of cope with the pain of losing a loved one. It was actually a really great story, and it kind of gave you insight into why this guy does it. And he always has the most amazing signs.
Well, if we're going to go after these people as, like, future guests, I know the guy that CM Punk called out when he was yelling at Paul Heyman last week is totally on Twitter. He made an account called, like, that fat guy, and it's like, right, I mean, like, while he's still at the show.
Are there comparison pictures, though? Is there, like, a picture of him on the show, and then, like, him at his house on his couch? Because, like, anybody can take a screen cap of, like, hey, I'm that guy, remember? It
was like the people next to him tweeted pictures of him and then confirmed that it was him or something.
Interesting.
It was something that was, like, just how, like, he made, because he knew it was hilarious, so he just made an account, I believe. But if we're looking for random weird people to have talk to us.
Well, that's not it. I'm not done announcing some cool ones.
Sorry.
I'm sorry. No, this one's actually pretty cool and would probably be an awesome guest to have on. If you're a fan of RF Video, any of the shoot interviews, a lot of popular wrestling shoot interviews where guys just sit in front of a camera and tell stories. I talked to the guy who's behind the camera, Rob Feinstein, and I asked him if he'd be interested in coming on the show. Here's the thing is, like, he worked with Ring of Honor. I think he helped fund it. He was behind the scenes of, like, ECW, so the guy's been around and he knows some shit. So I think it would be really cool to get him on the show and talk to him, because I'm sure he's got a bunch of stories.
Oh, sure. Definitely.
So, you know, we're starting small, but, you know, at least we have some notable people. And not to take anything away from either Brock Lesnar guy or Rob Feinstein, but, you know.
No, I have a friend, or a Facebook friend, if you will, Mike Wentz. He does a show called The Billy Mike Show. He interviews some top-notch I've never listened to the show, admittedly. I mean, Mike seems like a top-notch guy. Just seems like one of the coolest guys. I've commented on so many Facebook posts. He's a huge horror movie guy. He seems like a really down-to-earth guy. He interviews some really top-notch WWE players. I mean, I think he just did an interview with a member of The Shield. It wasn't Dean Ambrose, so calm down, ladies. And honestly, like, that's awesome because he works in radio. He works for CBS. I don't want to divulge what station he works for. I don't know if I'm allowed to. I don't even know if he listens. I know he listens to the show only because he laughed and he commented on my Black Macho Man comments I made about the history of TNA. So I know he kind of listens to the show, but he's a cool guy. I would love to meet with him and talk with him anyway. But in terms of this show, to me, getting Gangrel would be a big step. Namely, or even getting X-Pac would be a big step, because I'm not interested in rubbing elbows with the rich and famous or the top-tier guys. I just want to talk to fans. You know what I mean? Like, this is a good show for fans and for superstars that they're not top-notch, but they've seen enough that they'll give the fans exactly what they want.
Definitely.
No politics involved, just exactly what they want to hear. Just stories. Like, I think that, for me, and I don't think there's really, in terms of, like, a caste system of pro wrestlers, I don't think there's really one above another in terms of just getting to find guys and girls who are in the industry who just tell us great stories for you guys, the listeners. So you don't have to listen to our bullshit all the time. You can just hear great stories and great shoots about the business. Because obviously, if you're listening to the show, you love talking about the business. You love hearing about other people talking about the business. You want to hear people that are in the business talk about the business. So that's just my 2 cents.
I'm with you.
So I want to get the tweets then, because I love our fans if we have them. I mean, until I was tweeting on the night of SummerSlam, I didn't realize we even had listeners, to be honest with you, until I got that donation of $45. I didn't know we had listeners, to be honest. I still don't, but here's a few of them. At ADITYALDWANI. I'm sorry, I have to spell it out because I have no idea what it says.
Adidildwani, clearly.
Shut up. What's your thought about Ryback's action? Do you think he's going to earn fame from doing that? Vince loves that character and will push that character. If he's the anti-hero, the anti-star hero, guarantee he's going to come in, piss and vinegar as a bad guy, and eventually he'll turn face.
Yeah. I don't know. They're setting him up for the World Heavyweight title, in my eyes.
To me, I feel like they're setting him up to benefit their Be a Star campaign. Like they're trying to push him as a bully, and then he'll turn into a good guy. But I shouldn't bully people.
Well, you know what you do? Set him as the new leader of the Real Americans. No, seriously, there's Ryback's push. Set him as the leader of the Real Americans.
No. I don't think.
No. I say no.
Gentlemen, I work at a job where it's all women, it's all menstruation. I essentially am single and have like 3 or 4 wives. Catherine on the show is my 5th wife. And she tells me what to do, what not to do, what I'm doing wrong. So, wifey, if you will, tell me why I'm wrong in that.
It doesn't make any sense to me. I feel like, as much as I don't like him with the higher card wrestlers, I don't think that he should be wrestling the John Cena's and stuff. I don't feel like he's at that caliber. I feel like he's above the Real Americans, because the Real Americans are now jobbing to the primetime players, and I don't think that adding Ryback to that mix would help anything.
All right, at Sweet Meat Pete, what are the chances from Stone Cold come back for WrestleMania? Please, Catherine, answer this, because I know you had thoughts on this before the show.
I believe my response was, when are you going to stop asking us about Stone Cold? We've answered this question like 5 times now. I think it's not going to happen. That's my opinion. I just don't think it's going to happen.
I think if it's going to happen, it's going to happen.
I don't think it's going to.
If it's going to happen, it's going to happen this year or no other year.
Right?
My opinion is if it was going to happen, it would happen last year.
Yeah. If it was going to happen, it was going to happen while CM Punk was at the top of the card on top of his game.
Well, Austin was hurt at that time. The funny thing is, and he got surgery to repair his hurt leg, which tells me that it's not out of the realm of possibility for this year.
Tells me that he wanted to walk again.
Yeah, but he was walking for how many years prior? He got a surgery, in my mind, so he could perform again.
I'm sorry, can I do the hand over the nose and mouth? Oh, damn! 1, 2, 3. At Rich87, any chance, that's 2 words, you dick, any chance of AJ Styles going to the WWE since now they have embraced fellow wrestlers of the Daniel Bryan? with the Daniel Bryan. Can I call him the Daniel Bryan from now on?
He speaks in the third person.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Daniel Bryan.
It's like the Ryback.
I'm going to call my beard that. I'm growing just an amazing beard right now. It is now officially the Daniel Bryan. AJ Styles going to WWE.
I hope.
Yeah, I mean, I would like that. I do like AJ Styles. The few times that I watch TNA, it's normally for him.
Jason, will you please insert that music into that? No chance.
As I said, I normally watch TNA for him or Jeff Hardy, and since Jeff Hardy's been gone mostly, it's been AJ Styles.
Thankfully.
But
I want to read this one, namely for this. At Craig Hermit, what do you think of the Hogan's comments on Fish taking control of TNA? You guys suck.
Did it really say that at the end of the tweet?
Yep. Is that hashtag?
A hashtag, you guys suck?
It says you guys suck. If you think we suck, why are you tweeting to us?
Yeah.
You know what you can do with TNA? Here's what you can do with TNA. You can fornicate to it, but you can't actually have it. That's the thing with TNA. TNA is a good idea on paper, but it's not really yours. You can sap to it, but you can't actually make love to it.
Yeah. I
It's
mean,
going to go bankrupt sooner than later. I was at a TNA pay-per-view with Jason where the left side of the Agganis Arena, and the Agganis Arena, if you've not been to Boston, the Agganis Arena is literally the easiest arena to sell out, and they couldn't sell out.
it's the runt of the litter when it comes to arenas in New England.
It's just full of people who want to big league you.
Jason?
Yeah, I mean,
I'll be good. I'll be good.
I will agree with the comment that it's, on paper, TNA is fantastic. They have things about it, the decisions that they make that I really like. I really like that they have, the X division of the slightly smaller guys. Like, I really like some of the things they do on paper, but it just doesn't come across the way that it should. It just doesn't have the pull that it should. So really talking about TNA is kind of pointless.
You know what's great about having something on paper? It looks good. I sap on paper, and it looks excellent, but it's not a wrestling company. At the end of the day, I just sap. I sap and sap. It's not a wrestling company. TNA, you couldn't sell out the Agganis Arena. As far as I'm concerned, you're bankrupt within the year. You guys suck.
Seems to be
Yep.
what Ric Flair's saying. If you've seen that comment. He doesn't think it's going to be much more than a year that they have left.
And there's one thing that I read less than TNA comments. It's Ric Flair comments.
Well, the only reason I saw it was in
Like,
the headline. That's why I saw it. I didn't really go into detail with it.
Sure.
At Craig Hermit, again, what has been at Impact Wrestling Feud of the Year so far, hashtag TNA. You told us we suck, good sir. So I'm not going to dignify that question with an answer. You know what the greatest feud would be? Piranha Man versus
Shark Boy.
The Celtic Broskies.
I mean, Craig Hermit kind of sounds like it would be the perfect villain to face Piranha Man. Because, he'd be like a hermit crab. And then you'd be a piranha. Piranha Man.
Is this like a tag team?
No, they'd have to be mortal enemies. Because there's only room in the ocean for one of us.
Well, here's the deal.
Oh.
Throw that out there.
The problem with Piranha Man promos is that you whisper during them,
And you
which is
walk away
fine
from the
when you
mic.
don't already sound like you're underwater. But now you just sound unintelligible.
You know what? Hashtag fuck you.
Do you want hashtag you guys suck?
That already is a hashtag.
All right, we'll see you guys in 3 weeks when we make up.
Oh man.
Oh man. Yeah, if there's a long-standing feud, it's me and Catherine are gonna have it out in the ring. Piranha Man versus-
No, we have been doing much better at getting along.
Yeah, that's only because my overseas girlfriend has dumped me, and I'm
Are you a fluffer? What is this?
Do you know what a fluffer is? Hashtag, did you go there?
Of course I do. I wouldn't have said it if I didn't know.
She didn't see Orgasmo. Hashtag Orgasmo. That's the fake 276 time for morning. I have no idea where the show's going. I have no idea where any of the shows are going.
We're off the tracks.
Again.
Everything that I have done this week has just slowly, just lost control as it got to the end. I filled out a comment card at Margarita's the other day, and by the end of it, it was just capital letters saying, blankets and ponchos.
Hashtag Catherine, hashtag.
God.
978
Actually,
276
Catherine is
948.
losing it.
At Elmo Commentary on Twitter. Friend us on Facebook, Marks on Commentary. I think that's a show. We do
Go
have
to
a
the
caller.
blog, marksonblogging.blog.com.
Get this more caller. And I have to do this Larry King stuff.
Yes.
Oh, that's right. We have the best caller ever.
Before guests arrive at Thanksgiving, like the tea bags. I can't do it, Kevin Pollock style. You gotta watch the show on YouTube. It's amazing. From Fresno, California, aka Heaven, we have a very special guest who has called into the show, Well, he begs to ask the question, could anyone living or dead beat the Macho Man?
Oh, yeah. This is the Macho Man Randy Savage, direct hailing you from up above in the stars, all the way from Mars. Yeah. Almost close to heaven, not quite close enough. Oh, yeah. Can you dig it? I can dig it. Yeah. The Marks on Commentary. Can you dig it? Because I'm here calling you from the afterlife. Oh, yeah. And the question I have is this. Is there anybody living or dead that can beat the Macho Man? No way. Not gonna happen. Never, ever, ever. Oh, yeah. Keep on rocking like ducking. Oh, yeah.
978-769-418 at MO Commentary. What the hell is my Twitter tag?
So you gotta answer the question. Who on earth could beat Macho Man?
I think it answers the question itself. The fact that Macho Man asks that question means that the answer is no.
All right, here's the deal. Here's the real deal. If Macho Man's in heaven right now, he's in a handicap match against Brandon and Bruce Lee. And he's holding his hand out for me. And I'm not quite there yet. So give it another 20 years, I will be tag teaming with Macho Man against Brandon and Bruce Lee. Because that's the tag team match and all tag team matches. Jason and Catherine can be special guest refs.
20 years?
30?
It's kind of depressing.
I'm kind of bad at math. 3 years.
Means you're what, 46?
You know what, Jason? You were in the same sped math class I was in. How are you that good at math? You're on a calculator right now.
Let's be honest. Eddie making it to 46 is kind of a miracle.
What's more depressing, Jason? It's like you're not gonna make it to 46 after. It's like, hell no. That sucks. And the death clock is ticking. Anyways, at First Source 8 says, tag me in, bro. Kelsey, bro.
I'm at DLNPLYR2. You should follow me on Twitter. Oh, I should do a shout out to that guy that loves me. What's his name?
The one who loves the Usos?
No, not that guy. I hate you.
I like that guy.
If you
he always talks to me on the YouTube channel.
This show, obviously you want to get in your pants. Here's my problem with that. You don't want to get in my pants.
It's at MasterShade_. Apparently his name is Sergio.
Wait a minute. Let's play. I'm sorry.
He said I was the favorite, and then he was also the one who said that I was the John Cena of the podcast, and I'll forgive him for that comment.
While we're at it, we're thinking of the wrong way. Why don't we flip it the other way? We have a single man on the line here. If there's any ladies out there, why don't you tweet? Why don't you tweet Eddie?
Were we turning the podcast into a dating show?
Yes. Somebody tweet Eddie that you have a vagina and you like Eddie.
And you're single.
And you're single.
And not in England or Russia.
Yeah, sorry, you got to be in America.
I'm trying to pound sign our listeners. Pound sign, how do I give you a lady boner? That's a really long sentence. Hashtag lady boner. We are Marks on Commentary. I'm Eddie Brody.
I'm Jason Smith.
I'm Catherine.
Hashtag lady boner. How do I do it?